Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Harley again. Today we're going to continue to focus on doing some word problems. So our I can statement is I can use strategies to solve word problems. So say that with me. I can use my strategies to solve word problems. You're going to need your math expressions workbook, so if you don't have that, please pause the video and go grab it. All right, I'm going to model the first problem for you and then we're going to do one together. The first problem reads, there are 400 cars in the parking lot. So I'm boxing the number 400 and I'm underlining my label cars. So I'm seeing a great big parking lot with 400 cars in there. 147 cars drive away. So I see 147 cars drive away. I'm squiggling those words. That tells me that I'm taking from. So I have that big parking lot of cars, but some are leaving. I'm taking from it. So this is a take from word problem. How many cars are remaining? So here's that question mark and that question word. I'm going to zoom in on that. My question's asking how many cars are remaining? How many are left? So we start with 400 cars are in the lot. That's how much we start with. We we have 147 cars drive away, so that means it's getting smaller. That's how many leave or drive away. And that will give us how many cars are remaining or left in the parking lot. So I'm going to make my math mountain here because I love that math mountain. I started with 400 at the top. I took away 147, and that gives me how many are left. So I'm going to go this way down my math mountain, and I'm going to do 400 minus 147, just like I did here in my equation, but I want to take that horizontal equation and I want to write it vertically. So I have 400 here, and I want to take away from that 147 cars. That's how many leave my parking lot. And that'll tell me how many are remaining. So I'm gonna circle my sign. And I'm gonna draw my columns there to help me keep my units together. I'm gonna star that ones column. All right, I have 0 ones minus 7 ones here. That means I have more on the floor. Because I have more on the floor, I need to go next door and get 10 more. But unfortunately, there isn't any there. So Mr. Tens is going to go to Mr. Hundreds for me and say, Mr. Hundreds, can you give me some? And he can. He has the digit 4 there. So we're going to cross out that digit 4 in the hundreds column. It's going to become a 3 because he's going to give 100 to Mr. Tens. So here I have a 100 that Mr. 10 is going to break up or ungroup into 10 tens. So we still have 400 there because 300 plus 10 tens is the same as 400, but I haven't fixed my problem. I still have more on the floor in my ones column. So this is where Mr. 10 is now going to take this 10s, and he's going to turn one of those 10s into a 10 stick that he's going to give to Miss 1. So now he only has 9 left. And now over here in our ones column, Miss 1 is going to take that 10 stick and she's going to ungroup it and trade it in for 10 ones. So now I have 10 ones minus 7 ones here, and we get 3 ones. I have 9 tens minus 4 10. I have more on the top. No need to stop. 9 tens minus 4 tens is the same as 5 tens. And then in my hundreds column, I have 3 hundreds minus 100, which is equal to or the same as 200. So I believe there's 253 left in the parking lot. But let's check it by doing my inverse. So if I put 253 here, I should be able to add these two partners to get my original. So 253 cars plus 147 cars. Let's see if we get the correct answer. So circling my sign, telling my brain now that I'm looking for a total, not a partner. I'm drawing my lines to keep those digits together, keeping those units together. I'm starring my ones column because I always want to start there. So I have 3 ones plus 7 ones is equal to or the same as 10 ones. I have a 0 in my ones column. my new 10 above in the tens column. Be sure you're putting that in your tens column. I have 5 and 1 10 is going to give me 6 tens, and 6 tens and 4 tens is going to give me 10 tens. Put my 0 in the tens column and my new 100 above in the hundreds column. 100 and 200 gives us 300, and 300 and 100 gives us 400. So it checks. My question was asking how many cars are remaining. That answers that question there. So I have 253 cars remaining. And that answer is definitely reasonable because it's less than my original total. All right, my friends, in your math workbook, please turn to page 281 and look at number 1 for me. We're going to do this one together. 281, number 1. All right, here we go. As Mrs. Harley's reading, I want you to box the important numbers that you're looking at. I want you to underline those keywords, but I want you to make sure you're visualizing this word problem in your brain to really make sense of what's going on here. So let's read it. A teacher buys 200 erasers for her students. 200 erasers. I'm boxing the number 200. I'm underlining erasers. He gives, gives. That means I'm taking that 200 and he's giving away 152 of them. So I'm seeing that amount there gets smaller. I'm taking from that total. So now it says, how many erasers does he have left? I'm zooming in on that question mark and that question word so I can be sure I'm answering that question. How many erasers does he have left? So he started with 200. He gave away. What symbol would you use there for give away? If you said subtraction, you're correct, that minus symbol. He gave away, how many did he give away? 152. Yeah, that's what our story problem tells us. That's how many gave away. You might want to label that to really help you to understand what each of those numbers represent in your equation. And that would give us how many he has left over. We don't know how many he has left over, so that's why we have that unknown box there. I'm going to do my math mountain because I love that math mountain. Put in those symbols. We started with 200. He gave away 152. This is how many he has left. So looking at that math mountain I'm going to go right down this side of my math mountain just like my equation reads. So I'm going to rewrite it now. 200 minus 152. I'm going to circle my sign to tell my brain I'm looking for a partner and draw those lines to keep those units together. Star in that ones column because it tells my brain that's where I need to begin. I have 0 ones minus 2 ones. More on the floor. I need to go next door. There's a 0 in that tens column, so we have to go over here now to our hundreds column. Mr. 10 is going to ask Mr. 100 for some. Mr. 100 is going to say, well, of course, I'll give you some. That will leave Mr. 100 with 1. How many will go over here? If you said 10, you're correct. But didn't fix that problem yet. So what is Mr. 10's going to do? Yeah, you're right. Mr. 10's is going to now give a 10 stick to Miss 1's. So that 10 in the tens column is going to become a 9. And Miss 1's is now going to take that 10 stick and ungroup it and change it to 10 ones. So I have 10 ones minus 2 ones is the same as 8 ones. 9 tens minus 5 tens is equal to or the same as 4 tens. And now 100 minus 100, that's 0. So we get 48. I'm going to check my answer by taking those two partners and adding them. And hopefully I get my original total. Take those two partners. We should always get that total. All right, so 48 plus 152. You do your check. Pause the video while you're doing it on your own. All right, this is my check. Starring my circling my plus sign to tell my brain I'm looking for a total now. Putting in my lines there to keep my units together. Starring that ones column of 8 ones plus 2 ones is the same as 10 ones. I put my 0 in my ones column and my new 10 above. 1 10 and 4 10s is equal to or the same as 5 10s, and 5 10s and 5 10s is equal to or the same as 10 10s. When 10 10s is really the same as 100, so here's my 100, here's my 0, and of course my 0 is over there. 100 and 100 is equal to 200. I get that original total, so it checks. My question was, how many erasers does he have left? So on that line, you need to write how many erasers he has left, which is 48 erasers left. Remember, our I can statement is I can use my strategies to solve my word problems. Remember, if it seems hard for you, don't say this, I can't do it. Stop and say, what do I know? Use that visualization strategy to help you make meaning of that story problem. Ask yourself, am I adding to? Am I taking from? Am I putting things together? And that will really help you to understand and make sense of your word problems today. Have a wonderful day.